Good afternoon. I, Sanjali Sharma, welcome you all to the digital media platform of Uday India. Here are today's main highlights. Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren may get a big setback. The Election Commission has sent its recommendations to the governor on the allegations of Jharkhand CM Hemant Soren being in the office of profit. In this, the EC has also recommended the disqualification of Hemant Soren's assembly membership. On the other hand, the stir in Jharkhand has intensified. Governor Ramesh Bais has reached Ranchi from Delhi. Some ministers and Advocate General of Hemant Soren government also reached the CM residence. Hemant Soren's party JMM has asked all its MLAs to reach Ranchi by evening. Meanwhile, Hemant Soren accused the BJP of misusing statutory authorities and public agencies. It is worth mentioning that the investigation is going on in the mining case against Hemant Soren. This case is related to the mining lease allotment in his own name. Hemant has been accused of misusing the CM post. The decision of the Election Commission is binding on the governor. The Delhi High Court today refused to stay the Agnipath scheme for recruitment of youth in the armed forces. Hearing a batch of the petitions challenging the scheme, the court asked the center to file its reply within 4 weeks. Designed to enable a youthful profile of the armed forces, the Union Cabinet approved the Agnipath scheme on 14th June this year. It is an attractive recruitment scheme for Indian youth to serve in the armed forces. The youth selected under this scheme will be known as Agni Veers. Agnipath allows patriotic and motivated youth to serve in the armed forces for a period of 4 years. The Supreme Court today noted that the technical committee appointed to investigate whether Indian law enforcement authorities had procured and used Pegasus, a military grade Israeli spyware product, had found malware in 5 out of its 29 devices submitted to it, found no conclusive proof of whether Pegasus was the malware used in the examined phones. The bench said that the committee, supervised by the retired Supreme Court Judge Justice R.V. Ravindran, has, however, informed the court that the government did not cooperate with it. In this regard, BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad said in a press meet that the Congress party should not preach to us about spying. When late Pranab Mukherjee was the finance minister, his office was bugged by the Congress. The Supreme Court appointed Justice Indu Malhotra Committee, which probed the security breach during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Punjab in January this year, has indicated that the then Firozpur Senior Superintendent of Police (SSP) failed to take requisite action. A 3 year judge bench comprising Chief Justice N.V. Ramana, Justices Surya Kant and Hima Kohli today perused the report submitted by Justice retired Indu Malhotra, who conducted the inquiry. The Chief Justice said that the court would send the report to the government for further action. Suspended Telangana BJP MLA T. Raja Singh was arrested again on Thursday, 2 days after getting bail from Nampally court in Hyderabad after he was taken into custody for his remarks on Prophet Muhammad. Earlier in the day, the West Zone Police of Hyderabad Commissionerate had served two different notices to Raja Singh in previous pending cases. The National Commission for Protection of Child Rights (NCPCR) has asked the Hyderabad police to lodge an FIR against those who made school children raise slogans against the suspended BJP leader Raja Singh over his alleged remarks against Prophet Muhammad. In a letter to the Hyderabad police, the NCPCR said video clips circulating on social media platforms show children raising slogans such as quote unquote Sartan se juda and demanding the suspended BJP leader be quote unquote hanged. The Bharatiya Janata Party today announced several top level appointments in various states. In a significant political play, Bhupendra Singh Chaudhary, a minister in the Uttar Pradesh government and a member of the Legislative Council, has been made its UP president. Mr. Chaudhary is from Western UP's Jat community and has reportedly been appointed to consolidate Jat votes for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, as the traditional BJP voter base might be slipping away from the ruling party after last year's massive protests against the contentious and now revoked farm bills. Bhupendra Singh Chaudhary, Minister of Panchayati Raj in the state cabinet, replaces Swatantra Dev Singh, an OBC leader from southern UP. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has called upon Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) to unitedly fight against terrorism and eliminate the menace in all its forms. Addressing the SCO defense ministers meeting at Tashkent, Uzbekistan yesterday, he asserted that terrorism in any form, including cross border terrorism, is a crime against humanity. Mr. Singh said, terrorism is one of the most serious challenges to global peace and security. He said India reiterates its resolve to fight all forms of terrorism and make the region peaceful, secure, and stable. Mr. Singh said India seeks to develop joint institutional capabilities with the SCO member states, which will create the spirit of cooperation among individuals, societies, and nations. The minister proposed to host a workshop in India in 2023 on the theme of quote, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, risk mitigation, and disaster resilient infrastructure for the Defense Ministry of SCO member states. Quote. He voiced India's full support to a peaceful, secure, and stable Afghanistan. 53 of AAP MLAs, 62 in Delhi, attended the Arvind Kejriwal's emergency meeting of Aam Aadmi Party at the Chief Minister's home. Those missing are all accounted for and pledged their support on the speakerphone with Arvind Kejriwal. AAP leader Saurabh Bharadwaj said at least 12 MLAs said that they received BJP offers and each pledged support to Mr. Kejriwal till their last breath. He said, India for the first time voted against Russia during procedural vote at the United Nations Security Council on Ukraine, at the 15-member powerful UN body invited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to address a meeting through a video teleconference. This is for the first time that India has voted against Russia on the issue of Ukraine after the Russian military began action in February. So far, New Delhi has abstained at the UN Security Council on Ukraine, much to the annoyance of Western powers led by the United States. A Pakistani terrorist was captured and two others died in a landmine blast as two infiltration bids were foiled in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district over the last 2 days, the Indian Army said. The captured man, who had earlier been arrested for crossing the line of control but sent back on humanitarian grounds, was given 30,000 Pakistani rupees by a colonel of the Pakistani army for an attack on an Indian post, it added. The capture took place when early morning on August 21, soldiers deployed in Jhangar sector of Navshera region spotted movement of two or three terrorists on one side of the line of control, said the army's note. One of the infiltrators was close to the Indian post and tried to cut the fence. When he tried to flee, the soldiers opened fire, injuring and capturing him. Country's first indigenously built aircraft carrier, IAC Vikrant, is to be commissioned on September 2. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the chief guest at the commissioning of the indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant in Kochi. Speaking to reporters in New Delhi today, Navy Vice Admiral S.M. Ghormate said for Vikrant, the equipment has been made in 18 states and union territories, including places like Ambala, Daman, Kolkata, Jalandhar, Kota, Pune, and New Delhi. Vice Admiral Ghormate said Indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant has 2,200 compartments, including separate accommodation for women officers and female Agniveer sailors. He said, with this, India has joined the select club of nations, including the US, UK, Russia, China, and France, to design the manufactured aircraft carriers above 40,000 tons. In Rajasthan, relief and rescue operations are underway on a war footing in the flood hit areas of Kota Division. Army, NDRF, SDRF, and civil defense teams have rescued about 5,000 people from the flood hit areas. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot took an aerial survey of the flood affected areas of Bundi, Jalawar, Kota, and Baran districts today. Army is engaged in relief and rescue operations along with NDRF, SDRF in Kota, Bundi, Jalawar, Baran districts. The Chambal, Kali Sindh, Parwan, and Parvati rivers are in spate in Kota division. Riverside villages in Kota, Savai Madhopur, Karoli, and Dholpur districts are facing flood like situations due to excess water release from dams situated on Chambal and Kali Sindh rivers. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has directed the district administration of those districts to remain on alert where Yamuna and Betwa rivers flow. The Chief Minister also directed officials to take all necessary precautionary measures in view of the possible flood situation. Water level of the major rivers flowing in Bundelkhand region is continuously rising, particularly Yamuna and Betwa are flowing close to danger mark. District magistrates of Agra, Firozabad, Etawah, Auraiya, Jalon, Hamirpur, Banda, Prayagraj, Mathura, Mirzapur, and Jhansi districts are directed by the Chief Minister to take all necessary precautionary measures. At least 22 people died and dozens were wounded when Russian rocket strikes hit a Ukrainian town and set a passenger train on fire. In a video addressed to the United Nations Security Council, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the rockets hit a train in a small town of Chaplin, west of Russia occupied Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Ukraine spent yesterday marking its annual Independence Day, and Mr. Zelensky had previously said Russia might do something cruel to disrupt the celebrations. Earlier, he accused Moscow's forces of turning the Zaporizhia nuclear plant into a war zone that endangered the plant and the people of Europe, putting the world on the brink of a radiation catastrophe. Raju Srivastav gained consciousness today after 15 days. He is being monitored by the doctors at AIMS, Delhi. His health condition is improving. He was admitted at AIMS on August 10 after exercise experiencing chest pain and collapsing while working out at the gym. His personal secretary Garvit Narang said Raju Srivastav regained consciousness at 8:10 a.m. After this, at 9 o'clock, the team of doctors also checked Raju's condition. Earlier, Raju's friend and comedian Sunil Pal had claimed on the basis of his conversation with the family on Wednesday that he can be removed from the ventilator after a day or two. A 13-year-old student, Pratik, has claimed to have designed a robot with emotions in Chennai. Ruffy, my robot, can answer queries. If you scold him, he won't answer your queries until you're sorry. It can even understand you if you're sad, said Pratik.